Sir?
Hi, guys. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Global Cuisine Events. I see it now. Yes. So you must be taking a big breath because your busy season's over when it comes to the awards, right?
Well, I don't know. I got home very late last night from another event that we did, much smaller, and of course with the time change,
Right.
it's an early morning.
Yes, it is.
I don't really think we take much of a we're pretty much straight through the year. We're fortunate in that respect. We also have a brick and mortar restaurant, so we're busy. We're busy year round. But yes, the award shows take a little bit more out of us. I mean, usually it takes me a couple of days to recover.
Yeah.
For sure, from those parties.
I bet. Because when your clientele, which you deal with constantly, but during the awards, it's probably heightened to some level. When your clientele are, the biggest of names and celebrities, I don't know, I would feel more pressure to make sure I have the stuff.
That it's all right.
Exactly right. And I imagine they have a number of different requests that are constantly out there. We just had a baker on who was talking about gluten-free products. Are you seeing a lot more requests for that?
I think across the board, not just in the celebrated community, but I think across the board, people are starting to eat differently, and sort of in catering and event production, and in the restaurant, we have to be prepared for ever-changing palates and tastes, and everything along those lines. So yeah, we do see that a lot. People are eating a little bit differently today, although I will say at award shows and or award parties, because the both of the events that I just got through, which was the Cash Money Grammy party, which was a very sort of very hip after party, and then the Seth MacFarlane Oscar party are an extremely high-end audience for products that are really interesting products. So there's always a search for that too.
Considering Seth MacFarlane hosted the Oscars,
Right.
That's a pretty big party.
That's a big party.
Yeah, that was a big party, and obviously a very celebrated audience. And these parties start very late at night. They start at 10 p.m. And they go till very late or very early in the morning. So you're having a variety of different styles of service as well, and you have to develop menus and products around that.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the highlights? What are some of the cool things that you're saying people are kind of asking for foods that are a little different now? What were some of the really cool things you served for the Seth MacFarlane party?
Well, the party itself was. Let me just tell you a little bit about the sort of the setup for the food. It was done in a matter of formats, and at after parties, people are coming in waves because they're coming from a variety of different parties, and they're finally going to end up at one either Elton John, or they're coming from Elton John or Vanity Fair, but most of them are going to end up at the Seth MacFarlane party because it was an unusual party. And so in the room, we had a few stations that were set up. We had some really great seafood stations where we were doing we were bringing in some great stone crabs from Florida and beautiful spot prawns from Santa Barbara. Some great oysters from around the country, and then we set up a really beautiful immaculate charcuterie station with all sorts of meats and cheeses and pâtés, all that of which the pâtés that we produce in-house. And then there was a stand-up tasting menu throughout the course of the first part of the evening, which was really a variety of different items that are going to be served in small, cute little vessels with small spoons, small forks, the food going to the guests so the guests don't have to go to the food.
Uh-huh.
And, that's a really awesome way to have a dining experience. And some of the items on those menus were things like we did a pan-seared foie gras on a mini French toast. Oh, did I say foie gras?
Yeah, Chef Gary, I wanted to ask you about that. We're showing if for people watching the online video right now, we have a picture of it. It's absolutely beautiful. But I was surprised to see this because you can't sell it in restaurants. You can serve it. You can't sell it in restaurants. And
Right.
I was wondering if you got any sort of backlash for serving foie gras on the menu.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Matter of fact, everybody was really pleased to be able to have a product that's been a little bit under the radar, if you will.
Right.
And I think in the my personal feelings are it's a product that is incredible, and we want to be able to serve it. And the fact is that we aren't really selling it, and so we are serving it. And the real question is, how do you obtain it?
Right. How did you get it?
One thing. I know a guy who knows a guy.
I love it.
So, and some of the other things, we were serving just a pincer diver scallop on curried polenta and a miniature mini glazed sea bass on sautéed watercress. And then I love bringing in products either local or from around the world, because we can't get truffles like we can from France, and so we did a real cute little truffle risotto, and then we brought in some Kobe beef from Japan, grade 8, which is just the most amazing product, and we served it on a little serving vessel with Hawaiian charcoal. So as it was passed through the room, you could see a little bit of the smoke coming up out of the charcoal, and you could smell the beautiful texture, scent of the product. So those are the kinds of sort of items, and then little pearl pasta with Japanese eggplant, lots and lots and lots of miniature tasting menu items, and then at the Seth MacFarlane party, it goes into that's the middle part of the evening, and then you go into late night. And then you have to have a whole new menu for late night, which is different kinds of foods. Mini grilled cheese with tomato bisques, and then we serve a seasoned scrambled egg in the shell of an egg. It's topped with fennel creme fraiche and caviar.
Oh, we have a picture of that one online. Is that real gold leafing?
It is real gold leaf. And by the way, that is a very laborious process.
I bet.
Gold leaf is very difficult to work with, especially trying to put it on a round shape.
Oh, right.
But we're used to having to deal with those sorts of things. But it makes for quite an impression, and it's a really cool little dish to do. And I'm all about doing. Obviously, it's important to do things that are I can color outside the lines.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
How would you describe your style, Chef Gary?
Well, the name of my company is really Global Cuisine, and seems like 14 years later, it's a pretty good name to have come up with.
Yeah.
In today's
You were ahead
world.
of things, weren't you?
But the fact is that my background really, and my team's background, is really of a variety of different flavors, textures, and spices, using that in our cuisines. And our experiences really is very diverse in that way, and we're very fortunate to have had that kind of background to be able to meld different, flavors from around the world and be able to actually execute it, which is the real trick. Is, it's easy to say it, it's a little more difficult to be able to execute some authenticity in a variety of different cultures.
Chef Gary, the brick and mortar restaurant, for people listening, if they're down in the LA area, it's right there in West Hollywood?
It is. We fly a little under the radar, which has been really kind of cool for us.
Yeah.
I'm located on the Lot Studios. The
Okay.
Lot Studios is the oldest studio in Hollywood. Dates back to 1919. It's the old Warner Brothers, Warner Hollywood studio.
How
And
cool.
I have a full service restaurant on that studio, and we never publicized it until this moment. Actually,
Well,
we're usually not saying it, but we are actually sort of underground, open to the public.
Cool. We'll put a link online, Chef Gary. We got to let you go. We have a hard break hitting in about 10 seconds here, but great to have you with us today. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Have a great Sunday.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other